What's up everyone, my name is Drew Joyner. I am the founder and creator of lifestyle brand Edward Joyner, and in this video we're going to show you guys how simple it is to start your very own podcast. Stay tuned. So for those who don't know, we actually started our own podcast at Edward Joyner, and it's named the Beyond the Garment Podcast. It's a podcast dedicated to enriching the lives of others by talking about sustainability, art, fashion, and culture. When you want to make your own podcast, or when you decide to, or if you're thinking about it, one of the things that you're going to have to do is think about who your audience is, what you're going to talk about, or what you want your podcast to be about. It's really important before you start kind of getting these more technical things or technical requirements, whether it be microphones or, hosting sites, that you understand what your podcast is going to be about and who is it going to serve. So for the Beyond the Garment podcast, it's dedicated to those things which are sustainability, art, fashion, and culture. That means we're going to have, for us, we have guests that we bring on the podcast. We talk about, what they do as they're in their profession, whether it's a photographer, whether it's an artist, whether it's a graphic designer, or it's another creative. And we interview them basically for 30 to 40 minutes and just learn about them. Not only for our business is it important that we learn from others, but we also get a chance to connect with other people. So have that kind of level of thought when you want to create your own podcast. If your podcast is going to be about entertainment, think about how are you going to be entertaining. If your podcast is going to be educational, what are the ways in which you're going to educate someone? So for this video, we're going to talk about five specific things that you'll need to start your own podcast that you probably already have, which you didn't even know about. So let's get into those 5 things right now. All right, the first thing that you're going to need to have in your repertoire to make a podcast is a cell phone. I have a simple iPhone XR. It's the iPhone I've had for the last 2 years. And literally all of the Beyond the Garment podcast episodes that we record, I use my iPhone XR to record them. So what I do is I have the voice memos app on my phone. I click the record button and it instantly starts recording my voice, right? What you'll do is you'll take the files from the cell phone that you're using, whether it's an iPhone or whether it's another, smartphone device, and you have your raw audio file. And this raw audio file is really important. And what you'll find is that the audio quality that you'll get on an iPhone or another Android device is probably good enough to start out with. I mean, it's literally what we've done all 6 of our episodes on. It costs me no additional cost to actually use my cell phone that I have right now. And it's a really just convenient, easy way to start your own podcast. I don't think you really need a high-level microphone, especially when you're starting out. I mean, you'll be surprised the quality that the iPhone brings. So number 1, you're going to need your cell phone or a high-quality recording phone device. Yeah, let's move on to number 2. The second thing you're going to need is a computer. A computer is going to be important because in order to actually edit the audio files that you get from your cell phone, you're going to have to do it on a software called Audacity, which is a free, super easy software, which we'll talk about in number 3. But a computer is really important. You don't need a high-level Mac or a high-level Windows computer. I literally am using a 2015 MacBook Air, and it has worked wonders for me for editing podcasts. What I do is I basically import the audio files that I get from the cell phone. I have music files and I have an intro to my podcast, which I'll show you guys in a second. And literally it's super seamless, super easy. And once you kind of get the hang of using, your computer to edit with Audacity, which I'm getting ahead of myself, but you'll see just how simple it is. So number 1, cell phone. Number 2, computer. The third thing that you're going to want to get is Audacity. Audacity is a free podcast or audio editing software that you can download. It's super simple to do. I will leave a link to Audacity in the description so you guys can download that if you want to right after this video. But literally what you'll do with Audacity is like I said kind of in the previous clip, is you'll take the raw assets from your phone, you'll send it to your computer in whatever way, you'll upload or import that file into Audacity, and boom, you have a editable audio file. And so Audacity, there's plenty of clips on YouTube where you can look up and how to cut, how to do this, that, and the third. But it's pretty intuitive. If you understand how to copy and paste works the same on Audacity. If you understand how to cut and paste, it works the same. And you'll just kind of learn how to do it. It didn't take me very long to learn how to do it. I literally edit and record all the podcasts for Edward Joyner for the Beyond the Garment podcast. And I guarantee you, if you just spend an hour trying to understand how to use Audacity, you don't have to be tech savvy at all. You will figure out how to do it. You'll get it done. That is the number 3 thing that you need to start your first podcast. So you got your computer, you got your phone, you got your editing software, you edited your podcast. What do you do next? The next thing that you're going to need to do after you're done editing your podcast episode and you got everything ready to go is you're going to need a place to host the audio file. And by host, I mean you're going to need a place for your podcast to live so that it can be sent to Apple and can be sent to Spotify, which are the main platforms that we use. So what we use as a podcast hosting site is Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is a free to use podcast hosting site for 2 hours a month, right? So obviously when you record a podcast, it can be 15 minutes, it can be 30 minutes, it can be 3 hours, but for Buzzsprout and for the nature of the podcast that we've created, which are 15 to, I would say more like 30 to 40 minute podcast. For that length, we use the free version of Buzzsprout right now, and basically we haven't had to pay anything to basically start our podcast. And so what you do is you'll create your Buzzsprout hosting site domain, you'll name the podcast, do all those things, and then you'll upload the file to Buzzsprout. And then once you have all your plugins, basically, which are for us, like I said, Apple and Spotify, it'll automatically publish to those locations once you publish it on your Buzzsprout domain website or Buzzsprout website, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. But so number 4 is Buzzsprout hosting site. There are plenty of other hosting sites. You can do other ones if you want to, but we do Buzzsprout and I've loved it so far. Literally, it's been amazing to have Buzzsprout. So yep, that's number 4. Lastly, the most important thing that you'll definitely need to start your own podcast is a good idea. It's kind of what I talked about earlier. You shouldn't do a podcast for clout. You shouldn't, do it just because you want to seem cool or start your own podcast. You can if you want to, but I recommend you not to do that. I think that in anything in life, and this includes creating a podcast, you should do something that you're passionate about. So literally one of my friends wanted to start a podcast because he always would tell these would you rather jokes. I started a podcast dedicated to fashion in my brand because I care about sustainability and fashion. There are plenty of podcasts dedicated to a lifestyle, to basketball, to sports, to beauty, to whatever. To being in a fraternity or sorority, to so many ideas. There's just so many things that you can do, and whatever you're interested in, make sure that it's a good idea. Make sure it's something unique. Don't try to copy someone else. Be you, and I can guarantee you that you'll enjoy the process. Right now, we probably have around 200 downloads with 6 episodes, and a download is just a statistic to kind of show you where your podcast is at. And 200 is not anything crazy, right? It's not, it's not breaking any records. But I'm literally having the most fun in my life right now, creating these podcasts, talking to different creatives, talking to different photographers, and even reconnecting with some old friends of mine from high school and learning about their stories. So number 5, the 5th thing that you're gonna need to have is a great idea. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you guys how I actually record with my iPhone. In the next clip, we recorded this podcast for the week of July 27th. You guys get to see literally our setup. It was the first time we had a co-host, and I'll show you guys what it sounds like when we're actually recording it, and then after it's done recording and the podcast is done and it's uploaded. And you'll see what I'm saying. Hopefully that makes sense. 3, 2, 1. This week's episode of the Beyond the Garment podcast is very special. For the first time ever, I'm accommodated by co-host Lauren Zerker. Lauren is the Chief Communication Officer and Head of Sustainability of the brand, and we thought it would be a great idea to have her as the co-host for this podcast because she has a special relationship with the guest that we have today. What's up, co-host? How you doing?
What's up? I'm doing well. I'm really excited to be on this week's episode. Why don't we just dive right into it?
Let's do it.
Introduce our guests.
Who we got today?
So we're here with Emily Chaumillon, who is an old friend of mine. She's an extremely talented visual artist, whether that involves her painting or making clothes, which is why I thought she would be an excellent guest. But before we get into all of that, Emily, how are you doing? Comment ça va?
Good.
Yeah, we go back a long way. We were in elementary school together at a bilingual school in Denver, and I have such good memories of those days. I was actually going through some old school pictures to reminisce a bit before this, and the oldest one that I found is from 2004, which is like kindergarten. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That was probably the year that I moved to Colorado and I met all you guys for the
Yeah.
first time.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's a perfect actually segue to our first question, which is, Emily, what is your background? You know, where are you from? How was it like growing up there? How would you describe your childhood?
So I'm originally from California. I was born in Santa Monica. I lived here for about 4 years and then we moved out.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that little behind the scenes of what it's like to really make your own podcast. That podcast episode was super fun. We got to talk to a super dope creative who is basically a visual artist and a seamstress. And so conversations like that are just the ones that get me super excited and just get me excited for the next conversation. That person, Emily, she was absolutely fantastic. But as you can see, like literally all we had for our setup was I had my phone in the middle of the table. To record. I had computers basically both of our computers had questions on them because we wanted to ask questions on our podcast. And then I had the iPad up basically to control the camera so I can basically not have to get up from the podcast and walk over. And it's literally as simple as that. We had Emily on the phone. Usually we do a Zoom call because we want to see them. We want to talk face to face, but Zoom wasn't working. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll let you guys hear a clip of what the podcast sounds like in post-production and then show you guys a little bit of a sample of basically what our intro is and what our outro is and how we do those kind of things. My name is Drew Joyner, and you're listening to the Beyond the Garment podcast, a podcast dedicated to enriching the lives of others by talking about sustainability, art, fashion, and culture. We hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as we enjoy creating it. So that's a perfect actually segue to our first question, which is, Emily, what is your background? You know, where are you from? How was it like growing up there? How would you describe your childhood?
So I'm originally from California. I was born in Santa Monica.
Boom, that's how we make our podcast, man. It's really as simple as that. If you guys have any more questions, leave them down in the comment section or feel free to reach out to me through our Edward Joyner email. If you got some value from this video, please leave a like. We really would appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. We're going to be making more content on how-to stuff. We're also going to be showing you guys more behind the scenes of Edward Joyner. But I enjoyed making this video, man. Hopefully it helps some people out and just shows them how easy it is to really start your own podcast. Because it was really simple. It was basically, it is free, right? So, I mean, why not, do something for free and have fun doing it and potentially, have the possibility of earning money from it, which I won't even get into right now. But all right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.